Welcome to Live Without Limits, where we talk about how to change your thinking so that you can redesign your life. And this is the Success Shift. Think like your future self. I'm your host, Davida Shinsky, and today we're diving into something that is shaping every part of your life, whether you realize it or not. Your beliefs, not your goals, not your circumstances, not even your past, but the beliefs that carry about yourself, your abilities, and what's possible for you. Because here's the truth: most people don't realize you don't experience life as it is. You experience life as you believe it. And let's talk a little bit about that. Your experience in life as you believe it. And if your beliefs are limiting you, then no matter how hard you try to change your life, you will keep recreating the same results. But the good news is this: beliefs can be changed. And when you change your beliefs, you change your identity, your decisions, and, sorry about that. I hit something wrong. You, your decisions, your actions, and ultimately your reality. So, in today's episode, we're going to talk about what beliefs really are, how they shape your life, where they come from, and most importantly, how to change them so that you can step into your next level. So let's get to it. And let's think about it this way: when you set your reality, you are doing the things that can help you to literally become the person you truly want to be. It's not necessarily reality, it's something your mind has decided is true. For example, I'm not confident. I'm bad at business. I always fail. I'm not good enough. Success is hard. These are not facts, they are beliefs. But here's what makes beliefs so powerful: your brain doesn't question them. For instance, here's something that can happen. Someone has told you all these negative things like you can't live on your own, you can't think for yourself, you can't take care of yourself. Well, those become the things that you hear over and over again in your head. And because you're hearing them over and over again in your head, you begin to believe them. So, what you're really trying to do is change that reality and make it a new reality. It works to prove them. So, if you believe I'm not confident, your brain will focus on moments that you felt insecure. Ignore moments that you showed strength. Create situations that reinforce that belief. And over time, it becomes your reality, not because it's true, but because it's familiar. And what's familiar feels safe, even if it's limiting. So remember, back in the 20th century, a lot of the self-help industry in the 1960s was born. And that was an awakening with the baby boomer generation. So beginning to understand where the psychology comes from and how to incorporate it into your daily life, that's exactly what we're trying to help you understand so that you can do this and accomplish it. And we will cover this in the next 25 to 30 minutes of the show. How beliefs shape your reality. Now, let's go deeper. Your beliefs drive your thoughts, your emotions, your decisions, your actions, and finally, your results. So let me break this down. Your beliefs, your thoughts. If you believe, I'm not capable, your thoughts become, I can't do this. I'm not ready. Your thoughts, your emotions. Those thoughts create feelings like fear, doubt, anxiety, overwhelm. Your emotions, your actions, and those emotions lead to actions like procrastinating, playing small, avoiding opportunities, not speaking up. That's a twofold thing because sometimes people don't speak up because they're introverts and they need to be encouraged to come out. Then, too, if you're an extrovert and you find it comfortable interacting with people, but you don't speak up, then that's very much a learned response in how you react and how you respond in those situations. Your actions equal your results, and those actions create results like missed opportunities, stagnation, lack of growth. And then what happens? You look at your results and say, see, I knew I wasn't capable. And the belief gets stronger. So if you have a habit of doing this, responding to what's going on around you and not listening to your inner voice, then you're allowing others to control your life. Now, let's talk about the loop. This loop, for most people, is where you're stuck in. Your belief, your thought equals your emotion, equals your action, equals your result. Reinforced belief. And unless you interpret this loop, your life stays the same. And it becomes the reality that you believe it to be, not understanding where you truly should be and where you truly want to be. Understanding why these changes are so important and understanding exactly how you can take and make your reality your true reality. Now, here's something important to understand, and this is where your beliefs come from. Remember, when you look around you, we deal with the environment and we deal with nurture. If you have a parent who's very negative and all they do is see things as being very negative, then guess what? All they're going to put out is negative remarks. They're going to help you to continue to believe in that negative mode. So when we listen to The Secret, which talks about the laws of attraction, and the laws of attraction talk about how when you put out negative thoughts, you bring negative things to you. When you put out positive thoughts, you put out and bring positive things to you. So understanding how you and your reaction play into everything that goes on in your life helps you to understand exactly where you're coming from. So when we're talking about why your beliefs shape your reality and why we want to change them, remember, we're talking about the people around you. If you are in school and your grades don't show what your true potential is, then teachers teach in a cookie cutter way. So they can't deal with kids who have disabilities because they don't have time to. That's why there's special education. But a lot of this did not change until the late 1970s when laws started being passed to govern the rights of kids and children with disabilities and adults with disabilities, because there are learning disabilities that affect how you learn, how you process information, how you give it back. And I can tell you this much, growing up with a disability in the classroom, I was always 3 to 5 steps behind what was going on in the classroom. And that's simply because how the brain processed information, the fact that it got into short-term memory, but it didn't always get into long-term memory, then my grades never truly showed what I was capable of, because teachers teach in a way that when you listen and you see it, you're supposed to take it in. But not everyone is auditory and not everyone is verbal. So what we need to do is understand that some people learn by actually applying theories, and if you can gear them in that direction, then they're going to be as equal as anyone else. So therefore, when you consider the upbringing, your experiences, other people's opinions, for example, maybe someone told you growing up, you're not good at speaking. And now you carry that beliefs, even though it may have come from one moment, one opinion, or even one experience. So really, taking what you get, taking what you learn, taking and applying it helps you understand exactly where you're coming from and why it's so important for you to understand what your belief is and how it really affects your reality of how you see yourself when you look in the mirror. So, even though it may have come from one moment, one opinion, or one experience, or maybe you failed at something once, your mind turned that into, I always fail. But here's the truth, a single experience is not your identity. And always remember this, take a look at a failure as just a stepping stone. Because if you have a goal in life, you may not always know exactly what that goal is and how to reach that goal. And so sometimes it's trial and error on how you're going to get from point A to point B. So always look at a failure as a learning experience and not your reality. Someone else's opinion is not your truth. But if you don't question these beliefs, they become the lens that you see your life through. Always remember that you don't want to let someone else's reality become your reality. The problem with limiting beliefs don't just hold you back, they shape your identity. They become, I'm shy, I'm no leader, I'm not successful, I'm not good with people. And once something becomes part of your identity, you start acting in alignment with it because your brain wants consistency. And that's the reality of it. What your brain wants, because your brain only takes in and puts out what you experience. And until you begin to understand what's going on, can you change that reality? And let's look at it this way. You start acting in alignment with that reality because your brain wants consistency. And even if you want something different, your identity pulls you back to what feels familiar. This is why people say, I know what to do, but I'm not doing it. I'm not a knowledge problem. It's not a knowledge problem. It's a belief system. Remember what our beliefs are. Things that we hear constantly being told to us from day one to day two, and recognize exactly what it is and how you can change it. Remember, it's your beliefs that choose and help you understand exactly what you want to believe. Now, I mean, even if you take and apply what's going on in the news today, they tell you what they want you to hear. They don't always tell you the reality of what's happening. And you have a lot of people that take in that information and literally believe it. We are a country that was built on immigration, and immigration brings in new ideas. But we have become so accustomed to believe in being in others being inferior or superior and trying to knock them down so that we can feel better about ourselves instead of understanding that it's not the outside world, but it's what's going on inside you that makes those beliefs happen. So, the first thing you need to do is let's look at and let's begin this how to change your beliefs. Now, let's talk about the most important part how you actually change your beliefs. Identify the belief that you can't change what you're not aware of. Remember that. You have to become aware of something before you can literally change it. Ask yourself, what do I believe about myself? Well, let me tell you what I believe that I was constantly being told I'm worthless and helpless. And to me, that was like waving a red flag in front of my head to prove you wrong. And because the disability I have made it much more difficult for me to achieve things, it made me want to push forward, to move ahead, to make things happen for myself. Therefore, I looked at it as a challenge when someone told me that I can't succeed. What do I believe is possible for me? Pay attention to statements that start with I am and I can't and I always. I never. These belief statements. Now, let me go back and talk to you about what Eric Berne talked about in transactional analysis. He referenced it this way. The child says, I want. The adult says, I am able to. And the parent says, you should. Now, when you're talking to a child, and you're teaching them things, then you're going to tell them you should. You want to teach them right from wrong. And then as they get older, let them do things in a way that allows them to begin to take on more responsibility in their lives. Um, I, y'all, I can't go. I can't do this, but I've got someone at the door. I'll just have to go back to them later. But let's get through with what we're doing. So we've been talking about these beliefs and statements. So let's talk about and question the belief. Just because you believe that Just because you believe something doesn't mean it's true. Ask yourself, is this absolutely true? Where did this belief come from? Is this my belief or something I learned? And most importantly, what evidence do I have this isn't true? Oh God, let me go to the door. I'm sorry. Show. I'll talk to you later.
The machine, the washer is broken upstairs. It won't work.
Okay, okay. Sorry about that. Someone was complaining about the washer. Saying anyway, what I want to do is question the belief. Just because you believe something, it doesn't mean it's true. Ask yourself, is that absolutely true? Where did this belief come from? Is this my belief or something I learned? And most importantly, what evidence do I have that this isn't true? Because your brain has been collecting evidence to support that belief. But there's always evidence on the other side. Okay, let's talk about what the other side is, because remember, what we're talking about is what's your belief and what is reality. So your belief is one thing, but what is the reality? It's not that you can't do something, it's just that you believe you can't. So, and as I was talking earlier, when we talk about the wants, the things you're able to, and the things that you should, what you need to do is look at the things that you was told you should do, look at the wants that you have, take them and list them, because you should do it this way. You should complete the sentence. I am able to complete the sentence. I want complete the sentence. Then start looking at what you truly able to do, what people have told you you should do, see where the conflict is. And then you need to look at all the things you want. There is reality and change, and you need to make changes in order to understand exactly where you're coming from and why these beliefs, what they are. Replace the belief. You don't just remove a belief, you replace it. For example, instead of I'm not confident, shift to I am learning to become more confident every day. This makes the belief realistic, expandable, action oriented, and the next thing you need to do is reinforce the new belief. A belief becomes real through repetition, one experience. So you need to repeat it, think it, speak it, act on it, and recognize where it's all coming from. Because even before you fully believe it, because action creates evidence and evidence builds belief. Take aligned action. This is where most people start, but this is the most important step. If you want to believe I am confident, you need to take actions that align with confidence. Speak it. Share it. Share your ideas. Show up even when it's uncomfortable, because every time you do, you create belief. And that truth rewires your belief. So you see where we're coming from here and how we're taking it and where we want to go with it, how to help you begin to understand why, what you believe, and what you shouldn't believe, and what you should actually believe. There, you have to understand exactly where you're coming from, what is the reality, and what is the difference between that reality and that belief system. Because once you understand that, then it's teaching you exactly what it is that you really want. And it's also helping you to rewire your belief. And that's the biggest thing we want to do in this segment, is to help you rewire your belief system. So becoming your identity, here's the shift I want you to understand. You don't change your life by changing your actions alone. You change your life by changing who you believe you are, understanding exactly who you truly are. Because we all have a mask that we wear, that we present to the world. And what's your true self? What's your mask? And what is the true reality of who you are? This is what I call the stepping into your next identity. Ask yourself, what do I need to become? Create the new life I want, not what I need to do, but who do I need to be? Because when your identity changes, your decisions change, your standards change, your habits change. You stop trying to force change, and you start becoming the person that is your true self, that you are presenting to the world around you. So remember, there's the mask you wear, there's your true self, and there's the person that you present to the world. And understanding exactly how to take and merge all of these things to make them one reality. I want you to take a moment and reflect. What is one belief that has been holding you back? And what would your life look like if you didn't believe that anymore? Because the truth is that belief is not who you are. It's something that you learned, and anything that you learn can be unlearned. Remember that in reality, everything we learn is what we. Okay, let's go back and say it this way. Who you are today is not who you're going to be tomorrow, and who you are 10 years from now is not who you are today, because every experience you have, everyone that you interact with changes you from one moment to the next. If there's one thing that I want you to take from today's episode, it's this. Your beliefs are shaping your reality, whether you're aware of them or not. And if you want to change your life, start by changing what you believe is possible for you. Because when you change your beliefs, you change your identity. And when you change your identity, you change your future. So if this episode resonated with you and you want to share it with someone, who needs to hear this, and take one action today that aligns with the person you're becoming, because transformation doesn't happen all at once. It happens one decision at a time. I'm your host, Davida Shinsky. This is Live Without Limits, where we change your thinking so that we can redesign your life. And I'll see you in the next episode. And I hope that I can help change just one thing to help you change your belief system to make it your reality.